So, hi everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Yotewo podcast. And today we have talent from Zemu VC.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you, Alex, for the wonderful invitation. It's something I couldn't say no to. I'm always looking for opportunities to share a bit of my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. No, I'm honored to have you here. Thanks so much for coming. I think maybe let's start with a bit of background. Maybe if you can share a bit, are you working on? How did you get into the industry?
Yeah. So you know me, I've always been kind of fascinated about deal making.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about deals. So ever since I was in uni, I was just always thinking, you know what? I know I'm studying all this stuff here, but this not for me.
Yeah.
I was all about the deals, how do you put this 50 cents and make $1? So yeah, basically after uni, I moved to Hong Kong, Shanghai, and then I got a couple of jobs, but still, these were the jobs that. Not the kind of deals. This is like you're being told what to do in the morning and being told what to do in the afternoon. And, you're getting a salary at the end of the day. You're getting your fixed salaries. But still, I was there looking for opportunities and for me to get into the deal kind of like, I want to be the deal maker.
Yeah.
So, eventually breakthrough 2019, 2018.
Okay.
Met a couple of guys. These guys were interested in, recruiting overseas talent into Hong Kong, into Shanghai, Southeast Asia. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But in my head already, I had this idea. I was like, okay, no, we're not just going to be the facilitators. Eventually, we're going to raise money and start a VC.
Okay.
Yeah, so down the line, a year later, I said to these guys, like, guys, why don't we raise money and, let's do a VC rather than, facilitating, helping people to come and dock into Hong Kong and all this. Let's raise money. You are the locals, right? You raise the money. And as you can see, I've been, reaching out, sourcing the startups. Let's raise money and do a VC.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys was like, okay, I'll be the LP. I've got a lot of real estate. And so he was a real estate investor. It's like, I'm selling all this out because he got excited, because we were looking at all these VCs, like incredible VC guys doing big stuff. And he's like, yeah, we can do the same. And he's like, one thing he liked about it is like, this was like an eye opener for me. He's like, you know what, talent? We can do this until we're old men. Think about it. Other work is hard. You need to retire. It's like, I can do this when I'm 90. I can be an investor. It's like, look at Warren Buffett. And I'm like, exactly, let's do it. So we got on to Zemu Venture Capital and we started. And so we didn't even need to raise money. LPs were there. Like, we've got a fantastic LP called Ben. And he's like, yeah, all right, let's go for it. Right. So early stage investing ever since. So it's been already 6 years.
Amazing, man. That's amazing. Can I ask a bit more specific into why China? So because I myself, I lived in China as well. I lived in Hong Kong for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I know the great potential of that market, but I don't know specifically about VC market there.
Yeah.
So maybe tell what are the differences. How come you chose China?
It's a very competitive landscape, but the thing is, China's got a niche when it comes to VCs.
Okay.
Most of the VCs, they're so focused on local funds, so they actually have what's called two funds. So you find a lot of VCs, they only have what's called an RMB fund or Chinese yuan fund.
Okay.
So this is basically they just have like Chinese currency, the Chinese yuan. That's all they have in their fund. Okay. So that means they just invest in local projects.
Yep.
They're like a ton of those.
Okay.
But then the niche is on the US dollar fund. So if you've got a US dollar fund, then you're able to invest outside. So very few of them do that.
Okay.
Most of them focus on the local market because the local market is very big and very competitive. Yeah, and it's easy to scale. So I guess China was like, okay, it's a niche. We don't really have anyone doing it at an early stage because we saw there were a lot of investors already, big investors like Tencent. They've got but those guys, they are later stages and they deploy like huge amounts of capital. So we got in onto the early stage, and initially our target was like, let's invest into these companies. Then we go to the big guys like Tencent and say, hey, look, we invested in this company and they've scaled. Why don't you put in those billions of dollars you usually do? But eventually we discovered no, a lot of the startups we've been investing in, they are wide because it's an international market. Most of them, they get funding from everywhere, which is like one of our startups got funding from Costa Rica. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, they got a couple of millions from Costa Rica. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So it's like it's a whole ocean of investors. But China was like, let's do it. Like it's a niche, but eventually we found out like the ocean is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So you have over 50 projects in the portfolio so far.
Yeah.
My question is, you know them very well. So do you think there is a certain pattern of success in these projects? Would you say like maybe in the founder or, in the way I don't know, they just grow, their business model works? Is there any pattern that, you see in them that makes them successful, some of them? What would you say?
Wow. I know there's a pattern for failure.
Yeah, maybe share this one as well. It's like
There's a pattern for failure I've noticed, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to verify, like, is this really the meaning of failure in startups? Because you see all these trends. Because out of over 50 investments, obviously a lot of them have gone bust. But there've been those that have been really, really like. They've been persevering. Those guys, like resilience is crazy. Okay. But I've noticed it's all about the founders. I think investing for me now it's all about making friends, really. Okay. Yeah. So we get to a meeting, we talk, and I'm checking you, you're checking. I hope you're checking me too, but I'm checking you, I'm checking you. Yeah, you're telling me, And have founders that say, do you want to go for coffee? Do you want to go for a beer? And I'm like, okay, I'm warming up to these guys, it's nice. And then relations, the relationship, it's good, and I like it because it's early stage. So a lot of the times, early stage, you ask them as well. Okay, so what about the other investors you've been talking to? Yeah. Like, what have they been saying? So you get to know that there are founders who listen, and then there are founders who come in, they've got their idea and their train, and they're going to drive this train through. They don't care. Yeah. So you get a few of these. Like, I've noticed, like, out of 100, I get like 2 or 3 who got like they have notes of everything the other investors have been telling them. Yeah. I like those kind of people. Nice. And so you're like, so what have they been saying? So these guys, they're like, so we're trying to build this and we're trying to build A, B, C, and D. But investors are saying, nah, let's remove B, let's put D, let's put E. Like, I like those guys because you know what? They're ready to, to change and their work. Yeah, because the thing is with investors, you meet a lot of startups. Like for a year, I think I meet at least 1,000 people. 1,000 people. And 1,000 people were looking to invest into like 10, 15.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, wow, it's a lot of people you're meeting. Yeah. Some people, the conversations just end on LinkedIn, just a few messages. Yeah, but then actually, so once you get these 2, 3 out of 100 that, have a lot of details about what they've been talking about with investors and all that. And those guys, they appeal to me and I'm like, okay, these guys, we can bet on them because these kind of people, they're ready to pivot. So when things don't really work out, they're ready to change. They make changes, but then those trains, like it doesn't matter. They've got the money, and for them it's the runway. So they keep talking about the runway. We've got 12 months runway. Okay, 12 months runway out of the 36 months you had, still no revenue. Yeah, exactly. Still no key hires. And you're just pushing in, and I'm like, okay, So those are like I told you, I'm still trying to verify like my failure, Okay. But the good ones, they're ready to talk, they're ready to change ideas, they're ready to pivot, and they have a passion. They still want to build something along the line of what they want, but they're ready to listen to people and ideas and know how it is. Yeah. Of which I like it because with investors, you see what fails, you see what's doing well. So it's like it's different as a founder. You're focused on your passion. Yeah. Most of the time, you're not focusing on the market. Yeah. So you love this. You create a very, very sophisticated technology.
But you don't know whether
it's difficult to copy. Yeah. Probably impossible to copy. You're the only one who has these kind of codes. Which is good. But one thing you didn't think about is
whether the market needs it.
The market needs it. So I'm always telling people, build something that people want.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So to cut it short, the traits. Guys who are willing to they're flexible. Yeah. And they're warm people. Like I'll say they're warm people, they're friendly people. You can you can get to know them, and it's nice because when you get to know people, like when things don't go how they're supposed to be going, you're ready to even follow on, you're ready to give advice, and you're ready to make things work, and it's been working.
Amazing.
Working,
yeah, that's great advice, guys. Follow the market, follow what the market needs. That's super important one.
Exactly.
Man, then the next question is when I was looking through the portfolio that you guys have, and I got interested in specifically 2 startups. So number one is Butlr, because you mentioned this one is performing super well. So tell me about this one. And the other one I got interested is Docosan, for the reason that on your LinkedIn, that was the only startup that had a description that it lost all investors' money. So maybe share those 2.
Yeah. So Butlr is very interesting because Butlr we met right at the start of COVID.
Yeah.
So these guys, they are ex-MIT, and so they're in the States, and we're in Hong Kong. And so we're talking, and they're talking about they have they're trying to do all this monitoring, CCTV technologies, and yeah, they're really trying to change things in there. But then we are saying to them, you know what? We're in China. Everything's shut down, and the way this thing is moving, the pandemic, it's probably going to come to US as well, and you guys are going to have to shut down. So I think now it's a time to focus more on startups that can be run remotely, things that have to do with the current state of where we're going. This pandemic, no one knows what's going on, but China was shut down, and they were like, no, American market is like, we open, we're not going to shut down. So a few months later, they got shut down. And the interesting thing is, as soon as they got shut down, they already from the shutdown in a few weeks, they managed to pivot. To fit a market that was shut down. So they started making this monitoring system. It's an anonymous system. So like we're sitting in here. So they have a small thing there that looks like a CCTV. So basically they know we're in here. This thing just reads our temperatures. It can see that there are two people because it's getting all these infrareds and whatever. So but they can't see us. They can't see what we're wearing. They can't see what we're
That's cool.
Yeah. So and then they're like, let's put this in care homes. And exactly. Care homes are like, yeah, exactly. This is what we need because a lot of people, they've got those small rooms in their care rooms and their care homes, and they don't want to know they can't have a camera there because they're undressed and they do But then with this thing, you just see like a figure. So it's a figure, like it shows you that the person is alive. It shows you that their temperature is good. It shows you activity that they're doing.
That's amazing.
So they took this from this, and then they took it to office spaces, and they're like, we can help office people, spaces to know how spaces are being used. So these guys pivoted like crazy, and these guys are doing quite well. Valuation wise, I think we've gone 50x with them. And you know what? One of our LPs was saying that this kind of a company is a company where you go 500x.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm like, 500x? I've never heard of that. But they're doing quite well. I love these guys. And, they've been really good with their budgeting. I remember, they've been really good with the budget. I remember during the pandemic, they were one of the startups that didn't run out of money.
Amazing.
And it's they've mastered this art of I guess similar to what you guys are doing, fractional CTOs. So for example, they're building a new product. So when they're launching a new version of their product, obviously there's a lot of IT stuff involved.
Of course.
Rather than getting all these full-time people, they get into these fractional CTOs. So it's a 6-month contract, 1-year contract.
Perfect.
Stuff is built.
That's great.
And on budget.
That's amazing.
So they've been able to really work around with money, and then their marketing as well. It's it's phenomenal, guys. And when you talk to them, these guys are just they're ordinary people. They're people you talk to, people you relate to, people you talk to about work, about dogs, about cats, about moving houses. It's which is what I like. Like I said, I like it's like I want to get to know people. I want to make friends with founders. So basically that's how these guys flow, and really looking forward to it.
Amazing, cool.
And then of course we go to Docosan.
Just tell us what's
wow.
up. Yeah.
So Docosan was actually one of our favorites. Building a very unique platform, basically bringing health to every home in Vietnam. So with the rising of smartphones and everything, they had this brilliant idea to, build a startup that connects people to thousands and thousands of health services. So when we met them, they had 75,000 different health services on their platform. So basically with your phone, you could access 75,000 different health services.
Amazing.
In Vietnam. And this was awesome.
Yeah.
So got onto the round. We basically closed the round. We were so excited about what they were building, and you know what? We liked the founder. Though we didn't meet the other founders. That's the other thing. So we met the founder who told us about the other founders.
Wait, which round was it? Pre-seed or?
This was the seed round.
Seed round.
So so we basically, we got excited about what the founder was telling us, and I guess we kind of forgot to meet the other founders.
Were they all based in Vietnam? Or?
Yeah, they're all based in Vietnam. So we we invested, and over the months, because it was a good product, they kept on attracting more investment. So they kept extending this round. I'm like, wow, this is a big seed round. This is a very big seed round. Because every month, one of the updates was like, we got more funding. I thought we closed. Okay, we got more funding. And then as well, there was a lot of key hires. Like key hires. So basically, they were looking for the best of the best. So they said, the best of the best. And so every month there was also an announcement about a key hire, and then at the end of the month there was an announcement about letting go one of the key hires.
Okay.
Interesting. So yeah, that was quite interesting, and so that's where now you see the difference with Butlr. Butlr, when they need to do something, for example, they need to build a system right now. And they're thinking, okay, this is just, we have a CTO already, but he needs help with building this as fast as we can. They get onto those fractional CTOs and you don't get into those expensive contracts. So they were getting all these big people, big CTOs from Facebook. And so, you hire that person and you fire them after 2 months, you're still going to pay them for the rest of the contract.
I was about to say.
So I guess most of the time I had a chance to talk to one of the people, and they told me that it's just unworkable with the founder. It's just unworkable. And the founder preferred to, pay off all this damage fees and let them go because, so eventually we wanted to meet the other founders, and it was unfortunate that the other founders had also been fired.
How come the founder? Wait, so that founder was fired.
So the founder we met owned at least 96% of the company. She had two co-founders who owned 2% each.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so she managed to fire the other two co-founders in a space of 1 year. And eventually they ran out of money, and, they made a big announcement online that the company had been sold, but they forgot to mention that the company had been sold for $100.
Really?
Exactly. So they made a big announcement, and as soon as that happened, the founder started another company. So I guess they're fundraising again. And we still haven't gotten any documents to show that the company has closed. So basically it's, we just had a phone call and we're told the news. And so, so I guess from there, we got excited. That's the thing. We got excited about the product, but we didn't really get to know the founder. And then we see the mistakes there, overhiring. I think it's a time where you need builders, but you don't need to overhire builders.
100%.
It's there's so much tech there, so many companies now you can, go for, do what works. We've got another startup that's doing quite well. It's called Cosmos AI.
Okay.
They also pivoted, from a neobank into an AI employee company.
Okay, that's quite a pivot.
Yeah, that's a big pivot. So from banking to an AI company, and they're doing quite well.
Okay.
Doing quite well. Two founders, really great. I love those guys. And it's also the same thing. They really manage the way they, they employ people, the people they work with. They really manage that well. So and very friendly, people you chat with. But it's many stories to tell you about founders.
Extremely interesting. That's extremely interesting. And guys, next time you see that the company got sold, check out for how much. Because if it's not disclosed, it might be $100.
Exactly, So I guess, you attract a lot of investors by just posting we sold the company. Then, I don't know, how much did you sell it for?
That's crazy. Man, my next question is pretty related to that, about hiring, about what we do. So my question was, do you see this challenge in startups in general? Because you have a lot of startups in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Do you see this challenge with hiring? Obviously now I know that you do, but maybe is it the often case for startups?
So for me, it's I want to know the founders. And then as well, I want to know their ideas. I want to know their insight on how they are going to be able to get the right people to build the right product with them. So because I've seen that, like the example I gave you, I think the failure was a lot to do with not having the right people or not being able to, manage how you recruit. It's because it's a startup. A startup is a very fast growing company. And so today you might need 5 developers. And then next week you need 10.
Exactly.
And then a few months later you only need 2. So as a founder, are you going to get into 20 contracts for full-time developers?
Exactly.
5-year contracts? Yet you remember you're a startup and you're just on seed. You're on pre-seed, right?
Exactly.
Or are you going to, stick with that one CTO and then, be able to have the connections to get on board those, like I call them fractional CTOs, but are you going to be able to manage it? And, you have to manage it. You have to be able to manage it. And is your CTO, the current one that you have, is he compatible to work with other people outside?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, sometimes startups, it's a good thing. It's a double-edged sword. They're very passionate about what they're building. And sometimes they tend not to want to listen to other ideas. So the moment they get an outsider developer to help them, and, he comes in and says, this is rubbish. Let's do this. And you're the co-founder, CTO. You're like, you don't say that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're looking for founders who are open to that. He's 45 years old, 15 years experience in coding. He's a co-founder. He's going to hire a developer who's got 5 years experience, and the developer is going to tell them your code is rubbish. Let's use this code instead. And it's going to be like, yeah, of course, let's do it. You're young. You're telling me how to do it. Okay, tell me how to do it. Let's do it. Yeah. So those are the kind of founders that you want. So it's a really big challenge because a lot of startups, they spend like 6 months looking for a CTO, and it's always about CTOs, developers. It's always about back end, front end people. It's never really about marketing.
Exactly.
For some reason, it's always about what you're building. Because as a startup, you're talking to customers, and customers tell you this is what we want. So CMO is not going to be able to change the product.
Exactly.
Right? The CEO is not going to be able to change the product. You need the developers. So I'm always focused on the developers. You as the CTO, you as the CEO, you have to manage the marketing. And now there's a lot of AI. Get into that AI, work with the AI, but you're not going to be coding with AI. You're not going to code anything to sell with AI. It's going to come eventually, but you still need those developers to work with the AI to get the right product up. And so every day your CEO, you're talking to the customers, I want this. You talk to developers, guys, this is what they want. So I know people who have been able to sell to different companies something that they didn't have. So basically they had a platform, but every time they talked to a different customer, the customer wanted something extra. And guess what? Talk to the developers. Hey guys, this is what we need. This is what we need. So that ability to be able to get developers onboarded quickly,
100%.
It's a pain point, and it's a make or break. It's very serious. I would say, this is just my opinion, I think developers can actually build a startup on their own.
Without the CEO?
Without the CEO. I think so. As long as they have the ability to talk to people. They talk to potential clients, they understand, because these guys go back and build. They go back and build. So I think they can build, but at some point they will need that CEO to drive in the sales, to drive in the marketing, and to just put order. But I feel like builders can. I've met a lot of people who are like, me and my friend want to do a startup, but we just, we're developers. And I feel like you can go for it. Just find out what people want. Don't go jump in there and build what you guys know is hard and technical and impossible to copy. Find out. Find out. So I have this thing that I always tell people, PSI. Problem, solution, and insight. So find a problem. And then you are the solution. And then the insight is now the people you build around you, the team, can the team sell? Can the team build? Can you attract more people into it? But I think it's a building game.
Nice.
Especially now that we're entering into, I think it's a building game. For me, I feel like AI is more of the office stuff, sales, marketing. AI is super good with that. But I still feel like you need those people with that coding mind to create those great ideas.
Agreed.
It's my opinion, but I kind of feel like it's true.
That's 100% agree. That's why, like, when we created Yotewo, like, the niche that we really saw is that startups, they really struggle to find in those people because they might be in the other part of the world, or they might be, I don't know, busy on some other project. So there are so many factors that you need to take care of. So that's why I think that's something that's really is still a problem. So we're trying to solve it.
And with developers are more expensive than like marketing stuff. That's why you have to really be able to manage them. So that's why these 5-year contracts with the developer, for me, I'm like, are you sure? Why don't you look for something flexible? There's a lot of companies that are doing exactly what you're doing now. Not so many good ones though, but But those are the kind of companies that startups need right now. Those are the kind of startups people should be working with, because developers are very expensive, and you need to manage that budget to make sure that product goes out there.
Exactly.
So it's a pain point. The builders are the most important, and they tend to be expensive for some reason. I guess because they do a difficult job.
100%, yeah. No, that's a great one. Okay, man. So the next one I have, you actually touched on this one a little bit before the podcast when we were having a chat about blockchain. Yeah. But what do you think is this one underrated region or the market that you think investors are still sleeping on?
Everybody's on AI right now.
Yeah.
But if we look back, I think 5 years ago, people jumped onto AI and they quickly jumped out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There was a lot of people who jumped in and then they jumped out
immediately.
Yeah. So it's back again. This is not the first time. AI is back again.
Yeah.
I think this is like a comeback.
Yeah.
And it's a very strong comeback.
True.
So everybody's on AI right now, and people are kind of leaving blockchain, decentralization. But I feel like that's the future right now. As well. I think it will work hand in hand with AI. If you've noticed, there's a lot of blockchain projects working with AI. There's a lot of AI agents in blockchain right now.
Yeah, true.
So for me, I feel like blockchain is unstoppable. It's like AI, but it's able to incorporate. I don't see a lot of projects that are AI based, that are taking in Web3 strategies or Web3 ideas, incorporating them. But I see a lot of Web3 companies incorporating AI.
True.
So I guess AI is going to be a part of everything.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be a very big piece in Web3, blockchain. So I think decentralization is really big. And if you look at what's happening in America right now, there's a lot of talk about blockchain, Web3.
Good point.
They say the most powerful man is in love with most powerful man in the world is in love with Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true.
His family is in love with Bitcoin. They're running a Bitcoin farm.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna list it. I think it's gonna be one of the very few listed Bitcoin mining companies.
Interesting.
I think is it Donald Jr. or it's Eric Jr.
Yeah.
The Trump.
Okay.
So for me, it says a lot. It says a lot. And as well, there's a lot of resistance. Like there's a group of people that don't appreciate Web3 and decentralization. But for me, I'm always wondering, like, why wouldn't you want that privacy? Why wouldn't you want that as well? It's privacy and transparent.
True.
You know, you can't, I think with things like Bitcoin, you can't game it as like currencies are done. Like currencies are being manipulated and being gamed every day. But with things like Bitcoin, it's like, you have these protocols, you know, you have these smart contracts that you can't fake it. You can't cheat it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't, you can't deceive. It's there for everybody to see, and it's the most secure thing.
Yeah.
And the market has been growing. I remember when I started getting into Web3, I think the market was around 500 million market cap, everything. This should be around 2017.
Okay, a while ago.
So the whole market cap was about 500 billion.
Yeah, that was.
And then now there's several independent tokens that are worth trillions of dollars.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's an industry that's growing so much.
Growing, yeah.
Though there's a lot of now too many projects as well, not doing anything. It's also like this. I think there's work to be done there, but I think it's under invested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what about regions? Maybe any specific regions with founders that you think of?
Asia. I always say Asia.
Okay.
Maybe I'm biased because I've spent so much time in Asia. Yeah, almost 20 years in Asia. But I feel like Asia is underinvested, and I feel like the market opportunity there is really big.
Yeah.
I feel like Asia, there's just so much. That's why we went in for that, startup in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Actually, we went for 2 startups in Vietnam, and they all got bust. But for me, that's not a deal breaker. I still feel like Asia is got Kazakhstan is doing well. Then you have Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is also doing quite well, and there's a lot of great developers there. But I think it's just a matter of funds. Imagine if all these funds, because a lot of people are hiring from over there. Eastern Europeans are one of the the great coders. They understand coding. And I'm always wondering if we investors would land there and invest in those, those builders.
Yeah.
I think those guys build great companies. Look at Revolut.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a matter of time before people really start putting funds in there, and we're gonna see a lot of Revoluts coming out from Eastern Europe,
That's true,
and as well. Asia, I think, Asia as a whole is looking good.
The level of digitalization in Asia in general is so much more advanced than the general Western world.
Exactly.
Okay, amazing. And I have just the last question for you, man. So this one is we had a chat about it recently with you.
Yeah.
So you told that you are thinking about at some point in the future starting your own project.
Exactly.
Share, what would it be?
So like I was saying, AI.
Of course.
Yeah, it's not Web3, unfortunately. Okay. But yeah, so I'm thinking about, I feel like AI is still got a lot of work to do. I've got several ideas that I'm looking at, especially in terms of AI. Like right now we're surrounded by cameras. And for me, I feel like there's still a lot more these cameras can do. Like there's a camera everywhere.
Okay.
Like people have got cameras, like phones everywhere. Everywhere in the streets is just a lot of cameras.
Exactly. Yeah.
But these cameras, what they basically use them for is most of the time, especially the ones in the street, like the CCTVs, they use them most of the time to prosecute, not to prevent.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking, why not make them smarter? Like, shouldn't a camera be able to
prevent something?
Using AI, be able to alert like the police that, you know what? Today is a Sunday.
Yeah.
This factory is closed, but there are 4 masked people walking towards the factory door. That's very unusual. It's suspicious. So right away, they send in this alert. Yeah. And people know, okay, this is very unusual.
Okay.
Yeah, you have your house. You've got your camera. Why not make it smart enough that your camera knows your car?
Yeah.
So as soon as you drive in at 8 p.m.,
yeah,
it recognizes your car and it's fine. It's calm.
Yeah.
What about if a random car drives into your driveway at 9 p.m.? Yeah. Shouldn't it be able to tell you that there's an unusual car? Yeah, like you get people kidnapped and you see, they saw on the camera it was 2 guys that, put her into the car.
Yeah.
Cameras should be able to detect that there's a bit of violence going on there.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a struggle between that lady and those 2 men. And it should straight away report this kind of stuff. So I've been talking about this idea, I think, for 3 years now. And no one has quite built it. There's one startup that has done something in the US. It's doing quite well, but they've only managed to detect guns. So whenever it sees a gun...
I think I've heard of those guns.
Yeah. It's called Zero Eyes.
Yeah.
So as soon as it sees someone with a gun, it reports to the authorities. So it's being used by a lot of schools. So the moment someone in a school gets in, so it can detect a pistol, a big gun, and all this, it quickly sends an alert that someone with a gun. And they're doing quite well. I'm thinking, why not if someone, detects violence? This is unusual. This is unusual behavior. So AI should be able to distinguish between people kissing and people slapping each other in the face. Course, so it should be able. So people, because when I tell people but when people get contact, sometimes people, they're kissing or something or hugging, and it'll send false alarm. No, it should be able to say, this is a hug, it's normal. Yeah. This is a punch, right? Get it notified to the nearest police station. There's people fighting behind this corner here, and you might want to check it out. So that's the kind of vision I have. If someone doesn't build this, then I'm looking to build this.
Man, that's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think essentially everyone is a user for that. Everyone is
exactly.
a user. Because I remember this company that you just told about, I think what they did really well, they started selling to huge malls, shopping malls in the US. So, but imagine it happens not only there, it's everywhere.
Exactly.
And essentially every single business or maybe a government that is managing, helping the business, everyone is a buyer potentially for this. So
exactly.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's scalable because, you can, for anyone with a camera, you can charge them $3 a month to have this API installed.
Exactly, yeah.
So their camera becomes automatically smart. So you don't have to buy a new camera. What's there, you just, connect it to the API. If your provider doesn't provide, you tell them, if you don't put this API, I'm changing the provider.
Yeah.
And it's you charge $3 a month, and how many people have cameras, man? It's billions of people. So, but I don't know. Well, hopefully someone hears this and builds something like
man,
this.
No, you should build it, man, for sure. That's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Man, thanks so much. We had a pretty short one, but super, super insightful. a nice episode with you. Thank you so much for coming.
Awesome.
I'll leave all the links in the description for Zemu, for Talent itself. And yeah, man, thank you so much for coming. It was great to have you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I look forward to more chats, more of the collaborations that you have. And yeah, I'm always looking out to what you're working with. I guess I get to steal some of your portfolios and therefore investment as well. But yeah, all the best. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
nice
you so
chat.
much, man, again. Thank you.
Cheers.